So I'm making this video as hopefully the very last thing that's related to the original Era AU prior to the web series, because I don't want it to seem like I'm trying to milk everything for all it's worth. Anyway, let's get into things. First up is the original screenshot of British Bonnie, and I must say the recreation image is actually pretty accurate to what it was. The only thing I got wrong was the bow tie color, and thinking he had a mustache. Though I swear I added that soon after the original screenshot. Next up is that weird Toy Chica recolor holding Xander for some reason. Come to think of it, I think this is an entirely separate roleplay scenario, unrelated to the Era AU, which might imply this Toy Chica recolor was never a part of the Era AU. Moving on, there was a recreation of the poster showcasing Xander's family, but this time with Popplecat in place of Pobrock, and Hu Tao looking all evil. I think Klee is also supposed to look evil too, but I can't tell if her eyes are darkened or if it's just a low resolution of the screenshot. Here's two screenshots of Xander when he was Potluck and some burning Freddy's, then Insane remains stalking whichever characters are relevant at the time. Oh, another thing. I had teased in one of these two videos an alternative timeline series, where Xander and co failed to stop Hu Tao's reign of terror. Here's what the draft initially looked like for the series, and of course, the plot. So the story would, like I said, follow up on if Xander and co lost a fight during the Hu Tao era. What she would do from here is put everybody into a new facility, fit with prison cells, an office designated for Hu Tao herself, power supply, storage, and most concerningly, test chambers. You see, Hu Tao would secretly, behind Old's back, go on a quest to become stronger than he is and defeat him. This is so she could become the all-powerful thing that would be feared instead. It should be noted Hu Tao and Old are teaming together too for some reason. If I had actually developed this further, I would have just said they made a deal of some kind. Anyways, the whole reason Hu Tao is even doing all this is because after the Timekeeper was defeated, Hu Tao got angry she didn't get the chance to do that herself. This is due to TK often mistreating Hu Tao in the gang, so as an alternative, she would just kill Xander and co as a means to get her revenge. Now, for Hu Tao to achieve her goal of ultimate power, she would need to run experiments on every character against her. This would cause Xander to transform into this gross, black, malnourished slime monster. At the same time, though, Pobrock would also be experimented on. However, something went wrong, causing him to die. That's right, this timeline would tell a story with barely any Pobrock to be seen. However, this now weak version of Xander would find Pobrock's dead body, hollow it out, and use it as armor, which then turns him into Insane Remains. And this would have been another attempt at fitting Insane Remains into the story. There'd also be two types of agony Hu Tao research. First one is called infectious agony. This agony is unstable, and when left in someone's body for too long, it would morph them into what Xander is. Energized agony, however, is instead the stable version of it. The yin-yang of each other, if you will. Anyways, this variant would only come from extreme negativity, but can also be harnessed and used as a power source, in which both Hu Tao and Old seek out to become stronger. Now, this was as far as I had gone with the story, causing it to forever remain unfinished, and end up in a behind-the-scenes series. Anyways, did you know I wanted the second version of the renewed era ending to be animated? Yeah, I'm not kidding. I'll play the animation now, though the audio may look iffy because I was having issues with this.
Old.
Oh, didn't expect you to be here.
Well, yeah, figured I just popped in, I guess.
Well, anyways, you have no idea how long I've been waiting for this moment. Way too long. But now that can end right here. It's been so long since I've had a taste of revenge. But now,
So you may notice I had said the second version of the renewed era ending. This is because the initial idea for the renewed era's ending was very different than how it is now. So without further ado, here it is. So before I actually get into anything about this ending, I think this would have taken place after Ultra's whole arc was completed. Anyways, Vera is angry after I had properly said in that Xander, her father, doesn't care about anything else besides worshipping Fazbears. That combined with her bad experiences involving anything Freddy's related would cause Vera to forge a plan so she could end everything. First step, gather presumably every background animatronic from the series and convince them to be on her side. The way Vera did this was to give a speech to all of them, claiming they'll get to change history together, and take over the entire planet while everyone bows down to them all. Then their second step would be preparing for the grand battle. Little did the Amtronics know though, this is just a ploy by Vera so she could betray them later, and eventually make everyone bow down to her instead. While Vera and her Amtron army were getting prepared, she would find Rebecca, aka her mother, inside the spring-locked Fredbear suit, and somehow get her conscious inside of an actual FNAF character called Yendo. I can only assume Vera had also convinced Rebecca to be on her side. Also, as a side note, I'm more than positive I turned Rebecca into Yendo because he was involved in the original story according to these two screenshots. Guess I just wanted to make a tie-in between the two. Regardless, Vera and her army are now prepared to take on Xander and co, finding him in whatever number location to begin the battle. As they fight, the surrounding area will be significantly destroyed, and suddenly Xander uses some sort of powers to turn into his monster form, and fights everyone whether or not they're on his side. Actually, I just remembered, there was this episode of the Renewed Era where it's showcasing that he has powers of some kind to turn into his monster form. I don't remember if this is a scrapped episode or it's in one of the filler ones that I refuse to rewatch. But soon enough, something strange would happen. The world started to fall apart and melt away, leaving nothing but a black void. Xander looks around and comes face to face with something. The creature would reveal itself to be Old, who, instead of Overlon Demise, would instead be called Overlon Dismay. Very different names, I know. Anyway, while introducing himself, Old would make a comment saying Overlon Dismay was actually a name he made up, revealing that his actual name was, get this, Gilbert. I have no idea why I thought giving Old an actual name and be the least intimidating thing was a good idea. I think actually in one of the Renewed Era episodes, a character calls him this and it's never brought up again, thankfully. Moving on, Old continues to talk about how Xander has failed at life, despite trying to make the best he could out of it. To solve this, he offers Xander a deal. A, live a happy and fulfilling life with no strings attached, or B, go back to the senseless war he's been battling. Xander obviously chooses the former. However, he's cast into a universe where he just die over and over and over again, leaving the series on a grim yet inconclusive note. Man, am I sure glad that wasn't the ending to this whole thing. I think it would have been very messy and not that well executed, because this perfect life Xander chose was a separate timeline made in a Discord server, which I mentioned previously. Another thing too, I had very different plans for some of these characters at the time, most notably Old and Vera, which I might have not been happy with how those two would turn out when looking back. But with all that said, I hope you enjoy this hopefully final behind the scenes of the area. Goodbye for now.